Hello everyone, welcome to the last installment of The Light Was Yours, the visual audiobook. My name is Zoë Lola, poet and author of The Light Was Yours, and today we are reading part 3 of The Light Was Yours, Perspective. We're going to do all of this in one sitting, so we might be here for a little while longer. Grab a snack, grab some tea, get comfortable. As always, if you want to read along with me or if you want to spend some more time with the verses, you can always order your own copy of The Light Was Yours on Amazon. The link is in the description, and if there's any poem that you'd like to see me analyze, comment below and I will consider. Without further ado, let's get to the book. Part 3, Perspective. The improvable lie conquers the improvable truth. None can bear witness to a memory, hog-tied in his safe, nailed to her skull, as real and tangible as the blue sky. Smoke mixed with light and clouds and painted a beautiful portrait. The dusk recited the story of a lunatic obsessed with the sun and moon, who believed they might see her if she flew off the handle. Yes, Judgment Day had come. A jealous, bitter, guilty woman looks down from the portrait in the sky. The mirror in the sky? Doppelganger, with horns and a tail. Fuel, air, heat in perfect harmony. Stars held the torch, danced pole to pole, beat her blind, then robbed her bloody. Sky falling, fire catching, sinner walking, free at last. You tell me my ghosts do not exist, and now they're as loud as they've ever been. It is funny that the traits you once praised me for are now the same ones that you use against me. The vibrant colors of my personality and the daisy-like melody of my voice that drew you in, and the effortlessness with which I made you comfortable because I was always just myself and invited you to be too. This is now evidence of my malevolent seduction and supposed standing invitation for any man to take what he wants, because wasn't I such a giver? A piper's song of envy, the gift that kept on giving, drowned out her cries and emphasized the myth that she was crazy. The sun swept in the current, their stature, their deterrent, that kept them high above it all, unstained by beggar's burden. Grief crescendoed to a climax. They could have known, but didn't ask. Assumed validity in conspiracies that only live in minds held captive by dreams of self-preservation. A criminal commemoration of lore's proclivity for infamy in place of decent obsolescence. The worst part is realizing that maybe you weren't evil but ignorant, and now I have to wonder if you knew better. Would you have chosen differently? But then I must remind myself that you should have known better, that in fact you did know me better than to assume the worst in me. So maybe I cannot hate you for discarding me with such willful vitriol, but I can still find you liable for divorcing me with illegitimate cause and for negligent defamation in your attempts to reconcile your drawing of innocent blood with the reckless swings of your sword and what you claimed was defense. But you should know that some crimes are so heinous that your state of mind is irrelevant, and maybe what you did to me is one. Break every bone in my body and let me heal from that instead. Perfect victim does not exist. She was too slow. She was too angry. Do you see how she turned crazy? She hates men. That's why she claimed it. Her? Well, she had it coming. She should have been louder. She should have just left. Why'd she talk to him if she didn't want it? She's such a flirt. She got too drunk. She thought he actually liked her. Nothing is free. She didn't call the police. She would be sadder if it were true. Well, he said he didn't. He's never done that before. I don't think I believe her. Karma will not appreciate you using her name in such vanity. She, like me, is quite sensitive and does not take lightly to an attempt to bolster your reputation by declaring an intimate relationship with her, when we both know it is much more complicated than you care or dare to admit. Do not credit any fleeting pleasure you might feel right now to her, just as you refuse to acknowledge what you gained from me all those months ago. Because though it was me who kept you floating, karma will drag you under when she is ready. Karma is like me. Her highest value is truth, and no matter how forcefully you gaslight yourself into believing that your actions or intentions were good, she, like me, will be sure to reveal your shortcomings, inconsistencies, pitfalls in due time. So I would not call her name if I were you. You will only make her prove herself true with more ferocity than you are ready for. And she is not limited by what you or others choose or refuse to see. This time, I took it all in at once. If I process, I can let it go. I practiced saying to myself. I expected it to sting fleetingly, then unremarkably linger like the rip of a bandage, ending as quickly as it began with only tender skin to remind me of what I'd lost. Though it was all at once, it was not quick. It was a snake swallowing its prey whole, the slow devouring of something much too large, and I am not a snake. Still, I took it all and ripped a little, leaked at my eyes and fumed at my ears, but I felt it go down inch by inch, and eventually, it will be like it was never there. And now I can see how you are so pristine. You don't do a thing but sing us through spring, and watch as I drown, but never reach down. Just turn your sharp back while eels attack. You sit on your throne, your loved ones throw stones. I guess I'm not shocked. You have a reputation to watch. But now I've stood up and you hug me. Good luck. And now I can see how your hands are so clean. She is still as a statue, standing between two star-crossed lovers. The first, her sadness, who wants nothing more than to break from the prison of her skull to meet the second, her God, who wants nothing more than to take this sadness into its own hands. It is no burden to me. Let me have it. Why can't she let it go? You took my sanity as collateral for the love you let me borrow. You named our bond so natural. For my 2 cents, you gave your sorrow. You paid for compliments in kind, if I'd only lent my laughter. Your pride played cat and mouse with mine. We never kept the score for after. We traded secrets 1 to 1. That's how we revived the world of barter. But since your heart is vanished now, I think my sense was just a martyr. It's been so long since I've seen you now. Sometimes I wonder if I made you up. But I know I didn't, because I still feel it when I think about you. Maybe one day the memory won't spread across my body. I guess it might be fading because I don't remember your touch, and I can't name your scent, and if I try hard enough, I can pretend to not quite see your face. But you need not fear oblivion, for the body remembers when the mind does not. The brain protects, projects, predicts. So even when you're long gone, your prints will linger beneath my skin. The game was rigged from the start. She looked to you, her referee. You met her eyes, then looked away, granting inevitable defeat. She said, all right, I'll win on my own, believing cheaters would not fare. You stood aloof, not poised to shoot, like all was equitable and fair. The first half got her good, I'll say, but then she learned their rules, pulled the carpet from right under them. You should know, she's not to lose. My trust in your fidelity disarmed all my suspicion, so in my sleepless, weeping nights, I passed you every ammunition. I watched you cross the battlefield, eyes wet but full of hope. I waited for you to come back to me with my convict on a rope. You sauntered in a way that, I will admit, gave me pause. Then you dropped my weapons at your feet, said I rebelled without a cause. You let them sort through all my stock and take what they desired. And when they turned my guns on me, you stepped out the line of fire. That's when I pinned it as a ruse, your loyalty a mirage. You coming here to try to truce, exceeded camouflage. How do you break something? You take it as high up as you can manage, past the mirror balls and maple trees and mountain crests. You show it the world, you make it so happy, and then you drop it. And when it falls and shatters, you blame gravity. I was honest and you listened. You learned me so well that you knew exactly where to pierce, discerned where I was most vulnerable, predicted the very hill on which I would die. I am barely breathing now, but I will be back. When you're all alone, like a tower bright, and the fear rolls in as they pass you by, stop and think, what would it mean if you only had your path to glean? The arms around me are long, like a boa unconstricting, like the contracts that they wrote, like my never-ending bargain, like my promises to trust them, like the fate's incidentals, like justice knack for patience, like the first line's lack of breaking, like the pauses in my talking, like the road that leads to heaven, and they swear that at the end, it will all have been for something. He thought it was a stab that sent me running, but it was 1,000 tiny splinters. I know how to remove a knife. It hurts, but I can do it. But the splinters, they poked me and punctured me, then paralyzed me. They say one splinter is harmless. They've never had 1,000. And these were glass, so hard to see. I prayed while nursing extremities, but that dull ache, it was killing me. Would you have lived like that and risked disease, or amputated so you might save the rest, like me? My thoughts of you don't suffocate me anymore, though I still have moments when I think about how nice it would have been. I know that what I deserve will be mine in due time. I know that I deserve the best, and the best takes time. I have time. Sometimes my old feelings come back for a visit. I don't ignore them. I hold them in the palm of my hand and inspect them closely, so I can see why they're really here. If I don't do that, they'll keep coming back. But this way, I politely send them on their way with a card to thank them for the reminder of how far I've come. And then I return to my new way of being. Healing often begins with surgery. A dull ache turns into a sharp pain when you finally decide to do what you must to survive. Tear yourself open and rid yourself of the parts of you that you know and love because they are attached to something that is killing you. It hurts for a while, and when it starts to get better and you can almost remove your stitches, you'll think to yourself, was the ache so bad? I kind of liked having that part of me. I kind of want it back. All you know is the pain of cutting it out and healing it up. You don't know the pain of how it would have killed you because you saved yourself. You saved yourself. The light was yours, but the glass was mine, stained with aurora's glow and figured like the rippling sea, softening your glare to paint a picture you could have never colored on your own. I saw a sonnet where you only gave me a word, and a ballad where you handed me a note. Your trees turned to forests, and your molehills to mountains, under my stained glass. I treated teardrops like tsunamis, and I ate crumbs like 4-course meals. Will you forgive me? The light was yours, but the glass was mine. To write and lose what you wrote is the greatest loss. I write to give my brain permission to let things go. You don't have to hold on to that anymore. The page will hold it for you. And if you want to remember, you may read. But sometimes, rarely, I lose what I wrote, And I know that I can never write those same words in the same order with the same punctuation again. Words meet me on a rolling river. Words meet me on a rolling river where I can't go upstream. So when I lose old words, I grab new ones as the flow brings them near, hoping I can make a phrase that resembles the one I lost. Sometimes I can. Sometimes it's not quite right. But sometimes it's better. Sometimes I have to lose the words I have to gain the words I need. The dawn does not break. It creeps in, slowly. So do not leap from bed when the sky over you pales from that solemn black to a murky blue, where you will still fumble in the darkness. I cannot draw the line for you, for I do not know when. But at some point along the circuit, the night does become day. So be patient with your happiness. I promise, it will return. Our love is not yet ripe for picking, so now I'll leave you be. If someone takes you while I'm waiting, I'll know you weren't for me. From doubt to shame to blame to now, the twin flame still endures. If through rain and time it lives somehow, in gold will reemerge pure. I am going soft again, but one wrong brush will make me taut. I'm not crying because it's over. I'm crying because it's happened. I will never fall in love again. Next time I will go willingly, like a beeline to a flower, not a petal on a stream. Next time I will not be swayed or even pushed towards love. I will stand perfectly still or jump with my eyes wide open, and maybe I'll still stumble when I land, but I'll see the ground before it hits me. Next time, I will not bend like a willow or pine like a flower enamored with the sun. Next time, I will plant my own roots and move them if I have to. I may climb and run and jump and crash, but I will never fall again. Do not assume that what has been is all that there can be. To hide that part of you, which is not yet done growing, is to wither and die. Whether or not the sun returns, you must tend to yourself now. Do remember, darling, to hug nuance like a tree, for there is scarcely just one way for a thing to be. Should you forget this truism, just bring your gaze up to the sun. Your California daybreak means nighttime in Taiwan. In love and death and war and peace, same people rarely may describe the same phenomenon precisely the same way. This principle may fluster you, you ache for credence and control, but for your own prosperity, it's time to let it go. They encourage me to cast pain aside. How can I, when she is my muse? All I have to gain from her, and you, is what I can create. And to create, I must remember. So I visit her nightly, tearing the scab and making the wounds fresh again, remembering everything from the beginning. Love, hate, perspective, reliving years of pain within minutes. She takes, but she gives too. And that is more than you can say. So I will always invite her back. Wow, and then we have acknowledgements, but I'll save that for the hard copy owners. So that was The Light Was Yours, the visual audiobook. You can stop listening to me now or you cannot. I really enjoyed reading that last part. I feel like I needed to hear some of those things. I feel like there's a lot of wisdom in that last section, and even though it came from me, I forget, so it's just a good reminder. Do not assume that all that there has been is all that there can be. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little project. If you made it this far, if you watched the whole thing, thank you. Like, that's really cool, and I appreciate you, your support, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Until next time, whatever that is, I will see you guys later.